Hi guys, so this will be our next lesson. Where and how did life begin? So Unit 2, yan, Chapter 1, Lesson 1. Where and how did life begin? So where did life come from? How did life happen on Earth? And why is there life on Earth? No? So yun yung mga questions na kailangan nating sagutin as we go along this lesson. No, where did they come from and where did life originate? No, so these are the theories explaining how life started on Earth and saan nga ba nag-originate, how did life originate? Yan. So, in this chapter, you will learn how, ayun nga, etong mga philosophers na to and yung mga scientists, different scientists try to answer these questions, where did I come from and where did life originate? So, you will understand that through time, ayun nga, different hypotheses have been proposed, tested, and re-evaluated. And these hypotheses have only led to more wonders about life, and then you will further understand what life science is all about. So it is a study of the origin, processes, and interaction of life. No? So the earliest, the earliest hypothesis about the origin of life is known as the theory of special creation. No? So ito na nga yun. So there's no found evidence, support to support this explanation. Ito ang theory of special creation, wherein from this theory sinasabi that there is a supreme being who brought the universe and all living things into existence, and this is the core belief in most of the major religions in the world and most widely accepted explanation about the origin of life, theory of special creation. So Christians believe that God created the universe and the world, including all living things, in just 6 days. Ayan. Now, next theory is the theory of spontaneous generation. So, except for the presence of creator, the theory of spontaneous generation is similar to the creation theory in that it takes that it states rather that living things just suddenly came into existence. So biglaan na lang kumbaga nabuo, nagkaroon ng life dito sa Earth. Now this theory claims that living things can spontaneously arise from the non-living things, from this spontaneous generation, So sinasabi na ang life daw ay nanggaling coming from the non-living things, Now the Greek philosopher and biologist Aristotle is the one of the firm believer of this theory. His support for this theory comes from his belief that all things daw are full of soul, so that living or non-living matter could generate life, So dahil dun sa belief niya na yun, kaya ayun, strong believer siya netong spontaneous generation na to. And he also believed that some insects daw develop from the manure, or yung alam mo yun, tae, halimbawa baka, mga pataba, as the evidence, as evidence by flies appearing in animal dung, So alam niyo yun, naranasan niyo na ba yun na pumunta kayo sa isang tawag dito, lupain na may pinapakain na baka doon, o kalabaw, tapos na try niyo na bang try niyo na bang kutkutin yung kanilang dung, yung dumi nila. Tapos may makikita kayo doon ng mga nabubuhay na mga organism, So same with this spontaneous generation. Kumbaga ganun din yung idea na lahat yung life daw ay nanggaling coming from non-living things, So the ancient Egyptian also believe in this theory, spontaneous generation. So during the time na yung Nile River, after daw nung ulan, malakas sa pag-ulan, so tumaas ang tubig daw dun sa Nile River, and then kinabukasan no, at dumaan yung mga araw, napansin nila na yung mismong paligid, no, nitong river na to ay unti-unti na, no, na may mga nabuhay na mga organism, no, mga halaman, mga puno, and iba pang mga organism. So leading ancient Egyptians to conclude that the Nile River could spontaneously give rise to many forms of life, no, that is theory of spontaneous generation, no? So from non-living things, doon manggagaling, no, doon manggagaling itong mga living things, no. Now under this theory, meron tayong tinatawag na abiogenesis, no. So abiogenesis, sinasabi that living things can spontaneously generate from non-living or decaying matter. Ibig sabihin, pag sinasabi natin abiogenesis, ay nga, ang isang organism daw, no, pwede daw makapag-create ng life, no, yung mga bagay na walang buhay o di naman kaya mga nabubulok na bagay, no. So abiogenesis was popular until the Renaissance period, no. Now in the 17th century, several scientists disproved the theory of spontaneous generation, no. Dinisapprove nila, yan, disregard nila itong idea nga ni Aristotle, no, na spontaneous generation by putting the maggot observation under further investigation and performing other experiments. So ito yung mga experiment ng iba't ibang mga scientists na ginawa in order para yun patunayan nila na mali yung sinasabi ng spontaneous generation, no. So we have here the first scientist, Francesco Redi, wherein he used different kinds of meat such as snake, fish, eels, and whales, no. Na mamaya ipapakita natin kung ano ba to. Ay, ito, yan. So yan, nilagay niya, no, itong iba't ibang meat na to sa iba't ibang jar, no. Now, let's say for example, ito, no, naglagay siya ng meat diyan, then tinakpan niya, and then napansin niya wala namang nangyari, no, wala namang organism na nabuhay. And then ito naman, let's say for example, yan, nilagyan niya lang kumbaga ng net diyan sa taas, no. And then since nangangamoy nga, no, habang nabubulok ito, no, itong meat na to. So may mga nakita siya mga langaw na napupunta dito sa taas, and then nag-iiwan ng mga itlog, no. And then yung last naman, ayan na, no, naka-open na lang, no, yung ating lalagyan. And then directly nakakapasok, no, itong mga langaw na to, and eventually nakita niya na meron na ng buhay, no, may mga nabuhay na ng mga uod or organism dito mismo sa ating meat, no. Now next, kay Lazzaro Spallanzani naman tayo, no. So ano namang ginawa ni Lazzaro Spallanzani? So sabi dito, broths are exposed to air and then eventually microorganisms appeared. Now pag sinabi nating broths, no, kumbaga ito ay parang sabaw, no, sabaw ng mga pagkain, no. Ang ginawa ni Spallanzani, so itong sabaw na to ay kanyang inexpose sa heat, no. So let's say for example, ito, yan. And then after nun, pinabayaan niya, nilagay niya dun sa gilid, and then hinayaan niya na, kumbaga mag-normalize yung temperature. And then eventually, no, may napansin na siyang mga organism na nabuhay dito sa ating broths, no. So yun yung idea naman yung ginawa experiment naman ni Spallanzani. And then last ay yung kay Louis Pasteur, no. So si Louis Pasteur naman, he conducted an experiment similar to Spallanzani, and he discovered that the source of microorganisms for fermentation is air. Ibig sabihin, dahil daw sa air, no, dahil may yung air ay directly nakakapasok, no, na-expose sa air yung ating mga materials. So automatic din na maaari makapasok yung iba pang mga bagay doon na silang magdadala nitong mga organism doon, no, sa mga meat natin, no, o doon sa, let's say for example, sa broth, no, yan. Now dahil doon, no, dahil dito sa idea nitong tatlong scientists na to, dito na pumasok yung tinatawag nating biogenesis, wherein life comes only from pre-existing life and therefore does not explain the origin of life, no. So in the experiment conducted kanina, no, we found out that living organism did not spontaneously arise from non-living matter, rather, no, so foreign organisms brought forth the maggots, no, yung mga uod, no, yung mga microorganism na nabuhay doon na nakita natin doon sa mga materials na yon, no. So galing lang din sila doon sa mga material na o mga bagay na meron ding buhay at sila yung nagbitbit doon papunta sa mga materials na yun hanggang sa mag-exist na sila. Now, this is an example of biogenesis. So, biogenesis is the theory that, ay nga, life comes only from pre-existing life. No? Kung walang dadapong langaw dito, walang mabubuhay na maggots yan. Kung walang, dito rin, no? Walang dadapo ng mga microorganism din dyan, no? Wala ring mabubuhay ditong organism, no? So, that is the idea of biogenesis, no? Now, next theory, explain the origin of life on Earth is the theory of panspermia. Wherein dito sa theory na to, so in the late 18th century, no, some scientists thought that life on Earth did not come spontaneously out of non-living things, no? Perhaps it came from outside of Earth. And dito na nga pumasok yung tinatawag nating theory of panspermia, wherein life exists in the universe and that life on Earth may have been transported to our planet from somewhere else in the universe. So, ibig sabihin, ayun nga, no, ang life daw dito sa Earth ay hindi naman talaga dito nag-originate. Ibig sabihin, ang life daw dito sa Earth ay nanggaling, no, na ipasa lang. Kumbaga, nag-travel lang, no, anywhere in the universe na napunta lang dito sa ating planeta, no. So, microbe containing Martian meteorite o yung tinatawag, 'di ba? Alam naman natin 'yun, 'di ba? Sinasabi tayo na tayo daw ay mga Martian daw. No, kasi nga may mga materials na may mga chemicals na meron dito sa Earth na makikita lamang, no? Na makikita lamang dun sa sa planet Mars. No, so sinasabi na 'yun, Martian meteorites ay napunta dito, yan, bumagsak dito sa Earth and then ayun, nag-cause ng chemical reaction hanggang sa eventually magkaroon na nga tayo ng life dito sa Earth, no? Now, life might have been transported to Earth from other star system via, ayan, so paano ba nag-transport, no? Itong tinatawag nating mga materials na to. Yan, pwedeng via comets, meteorites, and asteroids, no? So, anywhere in the universe, yan, nabit-bit lang daw yung life papunta dito sa Earth, no? So, that is theory of panspermia. Yan, no? Let's say for example, yan, itong mga meteorites na to, yan, bit-bit nila yung mga, kumbaga, mga ingredients, no, na gagamitin in order para makapag-produce ng life dito sa Earth, no? So, the theory which states that life on Earth originated from microorganisms present in our outer space. That is theory of panspermia, no? Now, in 1903, no, 1903, Svante Arrhenius hypothesized the what we call seeds of life, no, seeds of life, which is came in the form of bacterial spores, which were spread through space and transported from one object to another by radiation pressure, no. So sinasabi ni Arrhenius na yun nga, meron daw tinatawag na seed of life daw, no, etong seed of life na to. And then yun nga, meron tayong tinatawag na panspermia, which comes from the Greek word which means seeds everywhere. So the idea of seeds of life were scattered in the universe, no. Yan, so may kinalaman pa rin ito again, no, sa theory of panspermia. So the idea of seeds of life were scattered in the universe and that life was seeded on Earth from outer space. So yung ingredient, no, yung material, no, na sinasabi dito nga sa theory of panspermia, no, para magkaroon daw ng life dito sa Earth ay nanggaling lang anywhere in the universe, no. Kung ano man yung seed of life na yon na nabitbit dito, siya yung naging dahilan kung paano nagkaroon ng life sa Earth, no. And then next theory is the theory of chemical evolution. So in the early 20th century, so scientists thought that perhaps life generated as a result of physical events and chemical processes. So the idea that life daw was the result of slow and gradual chemical processes is called theory of chemical evolution. So gradual, no, slow and gradual chemical processes that is chemical evolution. So it provides the stronger support to abiogenesis, wherein again, no, balikan lang natin sa abiogenesis, no. Ang abiogenesis is it means that yung life daw ay nanggaling from non-living things, no. Now dito sa theory rin na to, may tinatawag tayong primordial soup. No, ano ba tong primordial soup na to? So primordial soup, so first microorganism appeared in the ocean. So ibig sabihin, coming from the chemicals na meron tayo dito sa Earth during its early age, so ito yung ginamit, no, nagkaroon ng mga chemical reaction, different chemical reaction, and then eventually ayun na, no, nagkaroon na ng first microorganism na nabubuhay sa tubig, no. Bakit nabuo itong mga organism na to, mga microorganism na to? Dahil sa mga chemical reaction, chemical processes na nangyari sa tagal ng panahon, no. Now microorganisms contains eto na, hydrogen, water, ammonia, methane, and carbon dioxide compounds that synthesize, no. Pag sinabing synthesize, produce, no, yan, upon the exposure to sunlight and UV light, and eventually it serves as chemical building blocks of life, no. So ibig sabihin itong mga chemicals na to, yan, nagkaroon ng na-synthesize, nag-undergo ng different chemical processes or chemical reaction hanggang sa mabuo na yung tinatawag nating building blocks of life. Yun nga yung cell, no. Yan, chemical building blocks of life, no. Ito, yung mga materials na yan, no, those are the chemical building blocks of life, no, lalo na yung ayan, ammonia, no. Now dito pumasok yung tinatawag nating Miller-Urey experiments, no. So ito ay may kinalaman dito sa chemical evolution, theory of chemical evolution, no. Etong Miller-Urey experiment ay tinatawag din as spark discharge experiment, wherein Operin Haldane hypothesis into test. Ayun na, kumbaga tinest nila, no, yung hypothesis nito ni Operin at ni Haldane. So yun nga yung nauna kanina, no, yung kanina. Ayan, eto. Tinest nila etong idea nitong chemical evolution. Yan, tinest ni Miller at ni Urey. Now, paano ginawa? Ano yung ginawa nila? So they simulated, no, lightning by running a continuous electric current through the system, and in a week, no, nakapag-produce na sila ng 15% carbon and 2% amino acid, which are formed, no, and essential in making proteins, building blocks of life. So ito yon, guys, no, ito yung simulation, no, neto ni Miller and Urey. So kumbaga para siyang Earth, no. Let's say for example, ito yung ating planet Earth. Ngayon, ito yung water, no? Water or ocean. Ngayon, itong water or ocean na to ay in-expose nila sa sunlight. Kumbaga sa Earth, ito naman, yung sunlight or energy na ginamit nila ay yung nag-apply sila ng heat, no? Nag-apply sila ng init, no? And then, since nag-apply ng heat, syempre itong ating water o yung ocean ay mag-evaporate. So, evaporate yan, mapupunta sa ating atmosphere. Ngayon, no, sa tagal ba naman ng panahon, syempre may mga kidlat na rin during those time, no? And then, dito naman sa kanilang simulation, so gumamit sila mismo ng electrical spark, no? And then, napansin nila, no, eventually, ayan, nagkaroon na ng mga water vapor, no? And then, itong water vapor na to ay kanilang, nasettle dito, no? Yan, napunta dito. Ngayon, tinest nila ito at nalaman nga nila na itong tubig daw na to na na-produce ay merong composition of, 15% carbon and 2% amino acid. And itong mga bagay na to, no, ay ginamit, no, these are essential in making proteins, no, proteins proteins that is very important, no, for life. Yan. So, dahil yan dito, no? So, sabi nila na baka ganun nga rin daw, no, ang nangyari din dito sa ating planet Earth. At dahil doon, eventually, ay na nga, nagkaroon na, no? Nagkaroon na ng life sa Earth. Again, that is Miller-Urey experiment. So, sinimulate nila yung theory of chemical evolution ni Oparin at ni Haldane, no? Now, next theory explaining the origin of life on Earth is the bubble hypothesis, no? Ano ba tong bubble hypothesis na to? So, we have here Louis Lerman, no? Louis Lerman, so sabi dito, chemical processes that led to the evolution of life took place daw within bubbles on the surface of the ocean, no? And paano ba nagkaroon ng bubbles dito sa tinutukoy natin dito sa ocean, no? So during the early stage of the planet Earth, nagkaroon kasi ng time na ay nga, 'di ba, may mga volcano naman talaga, no? Na meron sa ilalim ng tubig o di naman sa ibabaw ng lupa, yan. Ngayon, yung mga volcano na nasa ilalim ng tubig, syempre naglalabas yan ng mga nag-eject yan ng mga materials, no? Ngayon, habang lumalabas itong mga materials na to, syempre nag-create na, since nasa tubig nga, no, in order para makalabas talaga mismo at makapunta sa atmosphere itong mga inject nito sa mga volcano, no? So nagkakaroon ng bubbles, no? Kumbaga enclosed, no, nitong mga bubbles na to, itong mga materials na lumabas doon sa volcano na nasa ilalim ng tubig. Now, bubbles produced by erupting undersea volcanoes and vents. Yun nga yung sinasabi ko, no? Yung mga bubbles na yan ay napuproduce galing nga doon sa mga volcanoes na meron tayo sa ilalim ng tubig. Now, when bubbles rose to the surface and popped, the more concentrated organic compounds were ejected into the air. Ibig sabihin, yung mga materials na nanggaling doon sa volcano na nasa ilalim ng tubig, na napunta nga, na enclosed ng bubbles, kapag itong bubbles na to ay nakarating na ng surface ng Earth, nakarating na ng atmosphere, syempre magpapop to, no? Hanggang sa maire-release na itong ating mga organic compounds na nanggaling doon sa volcano, no? Now, by lightning and UV radiation, the simple organic molecules became more complex dahil daw doon sa energy, no, o at sa UV radiation. Now, the more complex molecules gets back to the sea or ocean by rain droplets or snow. So yun nga, habang na-expose sa lightning, sa radiation, and then kapag umulan, syempre itong mga organic molecules na to ay babalik, no, sa dagat. Yan, hanggang sa maging complex na siya. At dahil dito, ayun na nga sinasabi, no, nagkaroon na ng life dito sa Earth, no? So let's say for example, ito yun, no, ito yung binabanggit ko. Again, may mga volcano sa ilalim ng tubig. Now, once na mag-eject ng mga materials itong mga volcanoes na to, magke-create siya ng bubbles, no? Bit-bit dyan sa bubbles na yun, nasa loob ng bubbles na yun, yung mga materials na in-eject dito, no? Ngayon, once na itong bubbles na to ay ma-reach na yung ating atmosphere, yan. So, syempre, magpapop to, no? Puputok. I-release tuloy yung mga materials na nasa loob niya, no? Ngayon, due to the presence of the energy coming from the sun o yung UV radiation as well as yung lightning, no? So nagkaroon, no, naging mas complex, no? From simple chemicals, no? Naging complex na yung mga chemicals na produce o nasa loob ng mga bubbles na to during the time na sumabog to. Now, bombarded by the sunlight's ultraviolet radiation, lightning, and other energy sources, the simple organic molecules na nasa loob daw nitong mga bubbles na to, released from the bubbles reacted to form more complex organic molecules. So, mas naging complex sila, and then, syempre, kapag umuulan, babalik yan sa tubig, no? Ngayon, dahil paulit-ulit ang process, eventually, nakapag-create na tayo ng more complex organic molecules na gagamitin in order para makapag-produce na ng life dito sa Earth, no? Now, those are the theories explaining the origin of life on Earth, no? Now, what do we know about life so far, no? Ano-ano ba yung mga alam na natin, no, about life dito sa Earth, no? Now, all living organisms are made up of one or more cells, no? Tatandaan nyo yan, lahat ng living organism, no? Kaya nga, organism, kasi nga, may life, no? And itong mga life forms na to, either it is made up of one or more cell. Just like humans, no? Hindi lang naman nag-iisa yung cell natin. Napakaraming cell natin sa body, no? Skin cell, di ba? For example, no? White blood cell, di ba? Brain cells, no? At marami pang iba, no? Next, ano pa yung mga alam natin with regards to life on Earth? So, we have also what we call metabolism. Pag sinabi natin metabolism sa isang organism, it is the sum of all chemical reaction necessary for the maintenance of life. Ibig sabihin, through our metabolism, ayun, napaprocess, no, ng maayos yung ating mga chemicals na meron tayo sa ating katawan para masustain ang ating life, no? Next, reproduction, no? So, it is a struggle of organism for their species. So, ibig sabihin, through reproduction, mas dumadami yung same kind of organism. At the same time, mas nagpo-propagate ang life sa Earth, no? Nagko-continue ang life sa Earth. Next, adaptation. Life-sustaining processes by which living organisms adjust to environmental changes. So, yun nga, natututunan ng mga organism na to na mag-adapt, no? From the early times hanggang ngayon. Katulad lang, for example, di ba, yung mga ipis, di ba? Yung mga daga. Noon, sa mga pesticide na yan, madali silang mamatay. Pero dahil nga nag-adapt na sila, no? Yan, hindi na sila ganun kadaling puksain, di ba? Pumapalag na sila. Diba? Noon sa lupa lang sila, yan, gapang-gapang. Ngayon, feeling butterfly na sila, di ba? Yan. Next is evolution, no? It is the gradual change over time to be better and fit to the environment. So, ang kinabahan ng evolution sa adaptation is that pag sinabi nating evolution, may kita lang natin na nag-evolve ang isang organism pagkatapos ng 10 taon. That is the time na makikita natin na talaga nag-evolve, no, sa environment, no, yung isang organism, no. Now, ayan, let's say for example, nakaraan may nabasa ako, no, na doon sa Laguna, meron kasing lugar doon na ang daming nagkaroon ng dengue, no. Ngayon, ginamit nila etong mga lamok na to, no, na may in-insert sila sa DNA nitong mga lamok na to doon sa Laguna na chemical na kung saan itong chemical na to ay sisirain niya, no? Sisirain niya, papatayin niya yung mga yung baby mosquito na magkakalat ng dengue, no? So through time ay nga nag-evolve, nag-adapt din itong mga ano na to. Yan, itong mga mosquito na to hanggang sa yun nga hindi na, no? Na wala nang na dengue, no, doon sa area na yun sa Laguna, no. Yan, so natutunan nila mag-adapt, no. Yan. At the same time mag-evolve, no. Now interaction, no, aside from that we have also here interaction with abiotic and biotic factors in the environment. So yun nga, hindi mabubuhay ang isang organism without these things, no, without its environment and without the other organism, no. Yan, kaya kailangan nila may pag-interact with other organisms. Same with us humans, di ba? Hindi naman pwedeng, kaya nga meron tayong sinasabi, no man is an island, di ba? Kasi hindi naman natin kayang mabuhay na mag-isa, di ba? Kailangan natin ng iba't iba pang bagay para ma-sustain natin yung ating mga life, no. At the same time mag-propagate, no, yung life sa Earth, no. So that is our lesson number 1 for unit 2 chapter 1, where did life begin. Yan. So that's